Live from Mike's Honda Pilot in Mount Vernon, Washington, this is the Podworm Spacecast. The Podworms are 7 lifelong friends who are on their way to Peter's bachelor party in Vancouver, Washington. Welcome to the Spacecast.
Vancouver. Also, are you going to announce every city that we drive through?
I guess so. We're not going to Vancouver, Washington. We're going to Vancouver, Canada, but...
The good Vancouver.
What's the difference? You're probably curious as to who we're joined by today. Well, let me tell you, we have both of the goddamn Deadly Brothers. This is a huge moment. We have the Deadly Brother, Mike McCoy.
Deadly Brother roll call.
And Kevin McCoy.
And to the Deadly Brother roll call.
We are joined by special guest and Podworms editor, Daniel LeClaire.
Hey.
We have the hairy handyman, Phil Williams.
Yo, yo, yo.
And our little buddy, Jim Charters.
What up, what up, what up?
And of course,
We're about to crash.
the guest of honor. We almost died recording this episode.
Yeah, holy shit.
There's some pretty sketchy driving going on ahead of us.
Hitting full-on traffic.
Oh, man.
Right out the gate.
We have our guest of honor here, Peter Freeze, Bachelor boy.
How am I the guest of honor? I'm a regular on the podcast.
I mean, you're the guest of honor for this special event. This is the first Podworm-sponsored outing,
Bachelor boy.
the Peter Freeze Bachelor Party.
Yes, I'm bankrolling this whole thing.
We are already high on cocaine. We are already
Bachelor
drunk.
boy.
We are already drunk on body shots.
I mean, how many hookers have we buried?
Hey, can I see whose idea was it to record a podcast in the car on the way to the bachelor party? Can I get a little bit of an idea whose fucking idea this shit was?
I think it was kind of everybody's idea, really. I mean, I think once you get us all in the car together, in a one place together, I mean, we could hang out and talk off mic for a few minutes, but it's like we're wasting all this great content because we're just, with the chemistry is there, the humor is there.
We can't hang out without recording now.
And how many bachelor parties have you ever been on where you didn't record everything that happened?
Also, what a great way to remember us after the accident.
Yeah, we'll send this to our parents. So on my lap, I have this care package that my girlfriend Emily put together for us. It's got some chips, it's got some pepperoni, and even some licorice. And on the chips, this was actually pretty thoughtful. There were some of those little chip clips, and we had thought when we first looked at it that Emily had eaten half the chips.
They're not chip clips. They're just full-on clothespins.
Clothespins, sorry.
Yeah.
I think of them as chip clips.
C-47.
You think a C-47.
But no,
if
they
you're
were
in the
actually,
industry, it's a C-47.
they were actually full, so that's all good. But they've been keeping us sustained. We're currently in Mount Vernon, Washington, hitting a nice bit of traffic. Hopefully, this doesn't keep up.
So
because
you think of clothespins only as chip clips?
well, I've never hung my clothes to dry. Have you?
Yes.
No, never.
Camping.
You haven't?
I have.
Okay,
yeah.
camping. Yeah, actually, Peter's family hangs their clothes.
We do?
Yeah, you have a clothesline, don't you?
Well, my parents do.
Right. That's why I said your family.
Yeah.
Are they not part of your
It's a family tradition for me. We gather around the clothesline and we hang our clothes first of the month every month.
You know what, Peter?
First of the month.
Because you're the special guest, I'm gonna let that one slide.
He's just our special boy.
Sorry, yes and.
And Mike is the special. I mean, he's kind of like the special guest of honor of the guest of honor because
He's driving.
I'm driving.
He's driving. He's the best man of the shindig. He put this whole goddamn thing together, and
We
this
put it together.
who?
We all put it together.
Oh,
We
yeah.
put
I
it
mean,
together.
I was on a Skype call, but I just agreed with
There
what
was
you
a
said.
party planning committee.
It's a party planning committee.
Yeah, it's almost more like...
Oh, here, put the mic to his face there, Peter. Thank you, lovely assistant.
Excuse me. It's almost...
watching the road.
Well, I am too. Let me do that. Watch me, Peter. Give me the fucking mic. It's more like Kevin and Jim and I put this together.
Yeah,
That's all I had to say.
Who do you
Yeah.
think's the most like Phyllis, and who do you think's the most like Angela in this party planning committee?
Oh man. I mean, you're talking looks.
And now I don't want to know.
Andrew, could you? Andrew, you were at the party planning committee, but you were on Skype, so you could actually tell us who's Angela, who's Phyllis,
Yeah, it's true.
who's
I don't know. Well, I mean, Angela's kind of uptight, and if I think of you guys and who's the most uptight, it's got to be. Oh wait, Daniel has an opinion. Hang on.
I just want to say, I think Jim was insinuating that since Andrew's on Skype, he couldn't see them, as if he didn't already know what they fucking looked like to start with to know who his most villainous. It's a weird comment.
Yeah, I mean,
he couldn't see us.
You couldn't see
Didn't
him
nail
right at
it.
that
Burnt.
point.
You burnt. You burnt.
Yeah,
He
that's
had no idea who we were.
that's why I keep Daniel locked away in the editing bay. Most uptight. I gotta say, I mean, so who's the candidates? It's Jim, Kevin, and Mike.
Yep.
It's, I mean, none of
Wait
you guys,
a minute. Hold on. No, most uptight is you.
But I wasn't part of the party planning committee.
Oh, he gets to decide.
Oh.
Yeah, you're a real Phyllis.
It's got to be Jim. It's got to be Jim. Unfortunately, Jim's
I'm
most
the
uptight.
Angela?
I mean,
Wow.
relatively, you're not the most uptight person I know.
Jim isn't a strong
Maybe.
evangelical Christian, so
This is true.
And then the most Phyllis. I mean, Phyllis is the person who is kind of sweet, but also, just can't quite nail the execution.
Hold on, Andrew, I want to know why.
Why? What? Why are you the most uptight?
Yeah.
Oh man, where do I
You
start?
can wear the tightest
Lay,
jeans,
lay it on
baby.
me. Let's talk about some real shit right now.
Let's get into it. Hey, this is a great vibe for the whole weekend.
Yes, let's begin.
I
by
wanna
Terry.
know.
And another thing.
you know what? Let's just go back to who was at that park and who wasn't.
Yeah, something
revisit it
easier to
tonight.
talk about.
I can't explain it. It's just a vibe. Okay.
This is such
No,
good content.
that's fair.
Vibe.
I've got a great question for
Yeah,
all you.
go ahead.
That I've been thinking about. I recently was invited to someone's house, and they're like, "Oh, let's have pizza for dinner," and they got a cheese pizza and a veggie pizza.
What the fuck?
Are you guys 4 years old?
I don't know.
Wait, that's like you're 4 years old or 70 years old. Who wants a veggie pizza?
I don't know. If
Well,
this
who-
person's listening, it's not a big deal, but it is weird.
And especially if you have a veggie pizza, you need to have the option of a not veggie pizza.
Right. So it's like at least get like a meat lovers and a veggie, but it's not like the cheese and a veggie are both side pizzas.
Who
was this
orders just cheese pizza nowadays?
I don't
This
know.
is a meatist party.
Where was this pizza from?
Papa Murphy's.
Oh.
Oh dear.
Oh, it's even worse.
Is that take and bake?
Were
I
were
love
they
Papa
vegetarians?
No, I also
No,
like
it
Papa
wasn't-
Murphy's,
it
but
wasn't-
a veggie and just cheese from Papa Murphy's.
No,
is
I
not
don't
a good
want
idea.
that. Why
no,
would- why?
Papa Murphy's
Get the
great,
cowboy.
but nobody was a vegetarian there that I knew.
Cowboy.
So I don't know what the point was. I don't know what the god.
I
What, like,
have-
what's like a if someone says, "Hey, I'm ordering pizza," what would you order?
Pineapple. All pineapple.
Zing, you burnt.
Did you ever
Boom.
consider, Mike, maybe times were tight and they want to get pizza for their friends, but they didn't have money to afford the additional toppings?
the
So they went,
meat adds so much more.
they went ahead and tried to please everyone by getting cheese and veggie, and then you had to go and make this fucking comment.
Is there such thing as a zero topping pizza? Like, oh, they have a deal.
Just a fucking piece of bread.
One medium zero topping pizza.
Give you bread.
My
Does
old,
exist.
my old roommate came over last night, and we had Papa Murphy's pizza, and it was half pepperoni, sausage, jalapeno, and pineapple.
Okay.
And he said he added extra toppings because that made it go over $20, which then enacted a coupon, which made it cheaper than just getting a pepperoni
Yeah,
pizza.
it's always
That's
like
funny.
that.
I had Papa
Always.
Murphy's yesterday too. So we were just sharing the Papa Murphy's at the duplex.
That's amazing.
Without-
Oh, good.
hanging
More
out.
duplex stories. Let's hear it.
But here's the
Oh
thing.
my gosh! Have we talked about the duplex?
Can I
on
hear
the
about the
pod yet?
construction of your
Yeah,
cul-de-sac
so
again?
I don't want to spend too much time on it, but it's
How
you
about the
go down-
landscaping?
Yeah, well, we both got a little grass patch. The grass is dying at this point. In the summer, usually, unless you're watering it, it's not really going to stay together. But yeah, so there's actually 3 duplexes. So there's 6 different places.
Oh, here we go.
We're doing this again.
Your calculators.
Again, I don't want to spend too much time on it.
Sure. Oh, hang on. Something interesting's happening to our right here. What's going on?
Oh, protesters.
Oh, they're striking. No, they're
Strike.
striking.
Oh my
Strikes.
God! I've never seen an actual picket line. This is bananas.
Solidarity.
Let's go be scabs.
They're walking in a circle.
Solidarity.
Mike, turn around. We can get jobs.
This
Solidarity.
is good content. If you're wondering why the background noise kind of died down there for a few minutes, it's because we're in this horrible traffic going through Mount Vernon. I'm not sure what's going on here. I mean, I know Mount Vernon's a popular place, but I didn't know it was this
If you have an email, please write to the Mount Vernon City Council and ask them to get their shit together.
If you have an email, classic. If you have an email, if you don't have an email and you're listening to this, tell me the fuck how.
Please write in. Get an email and write
They,
in.
they only
let us
know how
know
to go
somehow.
on to SoundCloud.
Don't turn
They
those
don't-
dials.
So another thing that happens on the show sometimes.
we only have a bookmark page.
That thing that happens where I'll say we're going to talk about something, and then I either completely forget about it or just neglect to talk about it, or who
yeah,
knows.
every show.
So I realized that happened, I think even 2 episodes ago, where I mentioned I was going to talk about these movies I saw on vacation. I never got a chance to do
Right,
so.
yeah.
So let me go ahead and I'm going to recap this right now. So I was on vacation in Whistler, and we had the time in the evening to kind of watch some movies. And Emily got some DVDs from a Buy Nothing. This is not even a joke.
Another Buy
This is not. She got a binder full of DVDs, not
Who
Blu-rays.
fucking needs that?
It's an addiction. I swear to God.
That's so weird.
I'm telling you. She got. Oh, hang on. Daniel's gonna make some noise.
Cut that out, Daniel.
Daniel, cut that out.
Daniel, cut the C's out, please.
Daniel got that out. And so she literally has a binder full of probably 200 DVDs, and you're thinking like, what kind of DVDs are these? They're exactly the ones you'd think. They're all like late 90s to mid 2000s movies.
Ghost
like,
Dad.
We watched Fight Club, for instance.
They're all Ghost Dad.
The 50 copies of Ghost Dad.
Ghost Dad. But we watched
Jack Frost.
Wedding Crashers. Have you guys seen Wedding Crashers?
Yes.
So
I actually just watched Wedding Crashers for the
No
first
way.
time.
Okay.
Like 2 months ago.
Okay.
Instant take, Phil. Go. How'd you think of it?
What's a hot take?
I think Vince Vaughn is a fucking creep.
he kind of is.
I don't know if that's a character he's playing.
I think that's his real life.
But here's the interesting thing. I noticed this trope, and this is probably like not a real hot take or anything new to anybody. But so in that movie, the basic premise, and you can kind of fill in the gaps here, Phil, because I wasn't paying super attention. The basic premise is that these two guys are single and they go and crash weddings to go hit on all the women that are interested in like finding dudes and hooking up with guys, and so it's easy pickings for them and they have a great time doing it until of course one of them falls in love with a girl at the wedding, but she is already in a relationship with a guy.
Plot twist.
And so it's this whole like, forbidden fruit situation. But I realized, I'm like, we're basically romanticizing, because of course those two end up together, spoiler alert, but we're basically romanticizing like this guy pulling this woman away from her committed relationship to go be with him. And I saw this again in the have you guys seen The Princess Diaries with Anne Hathaway?
Yes.
Her best,
Yes.
her best flick.
Same thing,
Absolutely.
same exact idea.
Miracles happen. Got the soundtrack in my.
I think this is actually no. This is a second Princess Diaries. So she's basically
miracles don't happen.
she has
The
a
one with Chris Pine?
the one with Chris Pine, exactly. So
The
she's,
one where they start a
Chris
coup.
Pine is in
Yeah,
Princess
the
Diaries?
second one.
yes,
Oh, there's. Oh.
if you
okay.
consider that canon.
which most people probably would because it's the sequel to the first movie.
Consider it canon.
But in both
A lot of
in both
retconning
those
that goes on.
movies, the whole plot is that they're kind of like cheating on their partner the whole time. But of course, the partner is made out to be kind of like a douchebag, and they're not supposed to be good for them. But it's just an interesting thing where it's like, these guys are kind of like just cheating on their partner, and the audience is going along with it. Have you guys like noticed that? Is that a thing?
Yes.
Yeah, it is weird.
Yeah, I've watched movies.
I've seen them.
Andrew, I think this is a perfect candidate for your strong 5 minutes,
Well, it's because you need an antagonist in a film, and so they're like, "Oh, let's just make it this." But then it is a weird thing that's like to promote.
It's kind of like you sit down in a theater, they turn down the lights, and they just ask you this crazy thing, which is just suspend your disbelief for about 90 minutes. And then we all sit there and we just pretend like it's a real thing that's happening, and there's a real story that's going on, and they didn't just film it over the span of like a month with different scenes and different times.
Oh, I mean, I get that, but it feels like
Also, The Princess Diaries 2 would be a much more boring movie if the dude just sat down with his partner and said, "Look, it's not working out. I'm going to go date this other person." And then they spill it amicably.
all right,
It's
fair
like
enough.
a movie with zero tension. Can you imagine that?
But wait, that's when Harry Met Sally. It's like a movie about all fine breakups and relationships, and no one steals anybody from anybody.
And that movie turned out okay.
Yeah, but the tension is whether or not they're going to get together.
Oh, whether or not they're gonna fuck, like a porno.
Will they, won't they?
I mean, isn't that kind of also The Office's plot for the Jim and Pam relationship?
Oh,
Because
you got
Yeah,
it.
she's
absolutely.
with she's
At least
with
for the first 4 seasons.
who's she with first?
Roy. Roy.
Oh, Roy. Ugh.
Right, and then she kind of gets peeled away from Roy because he's a douchebag, and
He's not even.
he's kind of just boring, right?
Well, he doesn't pay attention to her. Like he
Takes her
doesn't
for
he doesn't
granted,
do
that's
anything nice for her, and they like go to like sports games.
Yeah, and that's her fault because she's just letting it happen.
Yeah, he was more than a two-dimensional bad guy. He had
Such
some
a
depth.
bore in the sack.
Like,
Maybe
he-
he'd take better care of her.
He came
Oh.
back seasons later and was like actually like a nice guy.
Yeah, you felt bad for him.
Yeah, you feel bad for him, but like they certainly made him the villain at that point.
I like The Office, but there are so many interesting like.
No, I think I'm with Phil. She was just a poor lay.
a real snooze fest.
So this might be interesting to the space fans at home. So far on the
Hopefully.
Bachelor, so far on this Bachelor party,
On The Bachelor.
we've been to the casino, the Tulalip Casino, and we all played some craps together. Got absolutely demolished within probably 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And Daniel held off. He played one round, lost, and said, "Okay, guys, I'm fine." And everybody at the table, not us, the people in this car, but the people at the casino were like, "Come on, buddy, get in the game. You can roll the dice."
Get in the game.
And he's
Get you
he's
head
like,
in the
"No,
game."
I'm okay. And then so he sits down at one slot machine, and he puts $5
Golden
in.
Rooster.
The Golden Rooster slot machine. He puts in $5, and the max bet on that machine is $5. And he asks, "Why would you want to bet the max bet? Is that the best thing to do?" And we said, "Well, yeah, it gives you the best chance to win. It also gives you the best payout." And he said, "Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna be stupid and bet $1, which is the minimum bet." And so he bets it, I think, 2 or 3 times, and then he wins this special promotion that gets him, what is it, like 11 free rolls.
12 free spins at 3 times payout.
12 free spins, 3 times payout. And so it just
What-
rolls
what
it
did-
for him, and he ends up winning like $120 on this stupid Golden Rooster machine. Everyone else lost money or broke even, and Daniel wins $120 in this stupid goddamn slot machine for being, he got rewarded for being stupid.
Yeah.
You shouldn't bet the minimum bet.
What do you remember what the roll was that got you all of those free spins? Was it like Golden Bird, 9 flower? What was it? Do you remember?
Yeah, I think that was almost pretty much it. Right?
Yeah, Golden Bird,
There was-
Golden Bird,
there
9
was
flower.
There was a bunch of those little wild times 3s on there. They weren't in a line though, but I mean that's still pretty good, right?
That'll do it.
They're right next to the other icons.
God, that's so good. You got those right next to each other.
The wild times 3s. Yeah.
Kevin pulled up the sheet that says how you actually win, like what the combinations are to win, and I still didn't understand how.
You know, it's really hard to understand how to score slot machines. But what's even harder is to understand the instructions on how to score slot machines.
You mean how to
Like,
get...
I would figure it out faster just by looking at the screen than by reading those
I see.
instructions.
Oh.
They were so bad.
So on that slot machine, it said
I think that's by design.
max bet wins 259 ways. So if you bet max, yeah, there's a lot of ways you can win. You probably won't ever memorize that.
It was 243 ways, but yeah.
What's 243?
243.
But what are the ways?
243. 243.
The only slot machine I like is the one in Pokemon Red.
Oh yeah.
You guys remember that slot
I
machine?
remember those slot machines.
I spent hours in there learning how
I
to
won
gamble.
so much money in that pachinko gambling den.
Yeah, but that was like one of those simpler times because you see them in a row. It's like 3 in a row and you win. These slot machines, it's got like 2 in one row, 1 in the other row, 3 in this row, and they're all different symbols.
Andrew,
Yeah.
do we have? Can I pitch a movie idea that I came up with in the casino?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The casino.
Okay, great. So I told this to Kevin, and he
Called James Bond.
son of a bitch.
And that's the end
It's
of
a
that
secret
segment.
agent. So I had an idea for like a 90s Disney Channel movie called Max Bet. Who was a kid named Max.
Really good already.
He gets trapped in a casino, and for some reason in this world, the casinos close at night.
Is Max Keebler still acting?
Wait, the casino's closing down?
Yeah, the casino.
How is the casino out of business?
Have you ever seen Night at the Museum?
Yeah.
Well, it's this Night at the Casino, but it's called Max Bet, and it's in a world where casinos close at night.
But the casino, the games come to life.
Wait, what? What if the casino? What if the casino doesn't close and shit starts coming to life? And they're like, "Wait, what the hell? You guys are still here?" And like, "Yeah, we're open 24/7."
There's like a shitty knockoff version of the clock from fucking
Beauty and the Beast?
Beauty and the Beast. That's just a roulette table.
Wait, so
Be a guest.
is this movie like the candy cigarettes for kids?
Well,
It's kind of just going.
it would have as many like references as Ready Player One
Yeah.
does. This-
It would have
Yeah.
like we played on the Friends slot machine, so they would be in it. The Ellen DeGeneres slot machine, the
Oh my
Oprah
God.
Winfrey slot
That was such a
machine.
good cameo. The whole Friends crew.
Yeah, the Jurassic Park slot machine was there, so
Yeah,
you could
so
have
Jurassic Park.
At some point, you could have a slot machine made that turns into a bunch of like a T-Rex sized thing,
But also
and
I-
chases the kid.
I do like the idea of bringing in the element of Beauty and the Beast, where also all of the tables are alive and walking around.
So just everything's alive.
I'm most excited for that
Ashtray.
Golden Rooster.
I'm the ashtray.
Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of kind of racist Asian
Yeah.
caricatures running around.
But point being, the main character's name is
Based
Max
on the slot
Bet.
machines we saw, yes, that would happen.
Yeah. It's kind of like the movie Max Payne, except it's called Max Bet.
Yeah.
So wait, it's a combination of Max Keebler's big move. Wait, what do we say?
Max
yeah,
Keebler's
yeah.
big move, Ready Player One, and
Night at the Museum.
Night of the Museum and Beauty and the Beast.
Can we insert a relationship where he's with the wrong girl,
Yeah.
but the girl of his dreams is there, and she wins him away from that?
No, the girl of his dreams is the grand prize of winning like the biggest slot machine possible.
What if he
Or is
wakes?
that how he escapes? That's how it's like he's trapped in there because
Like-
he came at night and he has to bet to win.
all of his friends are going to plan on sneaking into a museum that night, and he meets them at what he thought was the museum.
But the museum had been demolished to make way for a casino.
Yeah, it was a casino.
What if this whole movie was just a big propaganda film that was sponsored and paid for by the casino itself to get more people to go in?
I
it?
would love it if the kid is smoking the entire time. He's like, oh, another time for another refreshing Marlboro menthol.
The villain is the casino owner who's like, kids can't gamble. Max, what are you doing in here?
Like the guy who runs the casino comes out, sees Max, and goes, "I bet your dad wouldn't like it if I found you in here." And he goes, "How much?" And then they bet.
I like that the little kid's voice is gravelly.
Yeah, how much? That's Max.
Well, he's been smoking the whole time.
That's the plot of the movie is that Max thinks his dad is trapped at the casino, so he goes in late at night to try and find his dad.
Well,
his
what
dad's
happens is he
not.
finds out that his dad's not trapped at the casino. His dad just left his family.
Oh, what a crazy twist! That's heartwarming.
That's horrible.
If this was made in the 90s, it would have been Macaulay Culkin in the movie.
For sure.
You remember how they have the Disney stars draw the Mickey Mouse ears during the commercials?
Yes.
They have Max draw it with a cigarette.
He takes a big drag.
He
and
meets a
then-
nice
and then
cocktail
he
waitress.
outlines the ears.
I think the movie should end with him waking up from a bender, in the gutter.
No,
Did that really
It
happen?
ends with him closing his eyes, and then he wakes up as 45 years old. He's got the shadow. He's in a box somewhere. He's like, oh, the good times.
The best ending to the movie is that he realizes that the only way for him to leave is to cash out.
Oh, hey.
He realizes you don't have to.
Wait,
bet.
is that
You don't
metaphor
have-
for suicide?
He's like, no. He just,
Oh my God.
No, it's a metaphor for gambling. So he's just max betting the entire time because he's max bet, and then he realizes I don't have to max bet.
I can
I
cash
have the
out.
power to cash out, or maybe he has a friend named Cash Out. I take it back. He has a friend named Cash Out.
Who kills himself?
After he loses all his money at the casino.
I can't wait for this to inspire a brand new generation of gambling addicts.
I think the movie should just end super sad so that it's an educational film so that kids won't want to go gambling.
Are you saying that we should have a sequel called Max Bet to Bet to the Max?
Yes.
The thing I like the most about
bet?
Max.
Cash out. Cashed out, Max.
the best thing about the movie for me is how hard all the symbolism hits you over the head. the guy's name is Max Bet. The whole thing is just so on the nose. But yeah, I had these McDonald's cartoons that were distributed by McDonald's. And they went on these adventures together with the whole McDonald's crew as cartoons. And I just remember them kind of solving the mystery or saving the day. And it really made me hungry for McDonald's. We watched them, a lot. And so it made me think, what happened to shameless promotion of products to kids? Are they still doing these different ways to kind of reel kids in? Well, maybe I guess
It's
YouTube now.
YouTube, yeah.
Yeah, is that what it is?
They're still advertising towards kids. It's just that we're not children, so we usually don't see the advertisements.
I actually stumbled upon a child fad on YouTube. It's about slime. Have you guys seen these videos?
Slimers?
Yeah, I have.
Kids love slime, and so these YouTubers,
How do you think Nickelodeon started?
that's true.
Ah,
Hey.
big
But
slime.
I think kids just like gross stuff, but these YouTubers will make slime out of just these random household ingredients and then dump it on themselves, and they have millions of views.
So-
It's this craziest thing.
So my wife, being
My wife.
being a 6th grade teacher, has to deal with these kids bringing in their homemade slime into the classroom every day, and they'll bring it in Tupperwares and shit, and then they'll lose it and get mad.
This
and they'll
sound-
argue each other about their slime.
This
a
sounds like the
huge deal.
beginning of this is how people start making meth. First they're like, oh, I just want to make some slime, and they're like, well, maybe I could just cook some type of thing that makes me feel good, and then you're just on meth.
You're suggesting that
slime is a
a
gateway
large leap.
to meth.
that just mixing some ingredients together is the first step to being a meth addict.
These kids should probably watch Max Bet.
Yes.
Set them straight.
Yep.
I don't disagree.
Don't get into slime, get into gambling.
This is unrelated, but do you think we could interview the guy who searches our car when we get to the border?
Definitely not.
Nobody's gonna search our car.
I mean, not search it, but just check it out, make sure everything looks good.
I'm not going to do that.
Okay, what would he do if you're all sitting here
It happens
podcasting
sometimes.
on the
while?
way back in.
I would argue
Canada.
let's not be sitting here
I've been searched into
podcasting
Canada.
because
No.
you just don't want to get pulled over or get searched because it's just a fucking hassle.
ass-
It just
takes
takes
hours.
It's a half hour.
When
Well,
we
you
came
get-
back
make you
from
go inside?
when we
Yeah.
came back from Mike's bachelor party in Vancouver, the guy made us take out all of the he took out all the luggage and then
yeah.
didn't put it back.
Phil
Yep.
Arcar didn't
And-
have to do that.
and Kevin
He's a
had a
nice,
bunch of,
upstanding gentleman.
Very true.
Oh, sorry. Kevin had a bunch of laser tags guns as well. So he's like unloading all these guns. He's like, what are these for? like,
Well,
laser tag?
Mike, as long as you act normal at the border, Mike.
Wait, so I
My
have a lot
palms
of
already
questions
sweaty.
now. So who has been
Mom
searched?
spaghetti.
Who has been searched at the border before?
Never been searched.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Kevin has. Mike, you have.
I was in a car in which it was searched, but I've not been the driver.
Whose car was that? That was.
Kevin's?
Oh, that was coming
When-
back from the bachelor party.
Yeah, when
Yep.
Kevin was searched, I
Okay,
was
so
searched.
Kevin is the common denominator here.
Yeah,
So, what
so-
is it about? How do you respond?
No, so the way you don't get searched is you just answer
Wait.
clear
First,
and
how am I
direct.
going to take your advice when you've been searched multiple times?
Yeah, I can back Kevin up. You just
back
do not
back
say
Kevin up.
anything unless they ask you.
Yeah.
Just do not
All
speak.
right, let's hear it. Let's hear it
And
out.
besides-
And short, concise answers
Yeah.
that are direct and answer the question.
Because the border patrol people especially will always be like, even if you slip up verbally, they'll just dig in at you and try and like.
And
they're-
See, I'm
There
nervous
is-
about
will be,
this.
this will be less of a problem too
I don't
because
speak
we all have
concisely at all.
passports. Passports are easy. They know exactly who's going where because we all have passports.
There's no way that this car gets searched. There are literally flags with Peter's face on top of the car that say bachelor party. And there's 7
100%.
dudes in a Honda Pilot. If they don't believe that's a true story, then I don't know. This is the weirdest cover for a drug mule I have ever fucking seen.
It happens
Or the
though.
best.
That shit happens pretty
Hey,
regularly.
what do you guys got on that recording device, huh?
My friend was just driving up with a couple of his friends, and he was in a band, and like in the back of his trunk, he had like one box left full of CDs from his band that they're like he just forgot about it. It had just been in there for so long, and they like interrogated him that like he was going up to Canada to like sell CDs and wasn't claiming it.
It's a
And he's
pirate
like, no, I'm not. Like these are just in my trunk.
So how did it get resolved then? Did they let him go?
They just let him go.
He gave him
they
some
just
free
hassle you.
CDs.
They didn't have to play every single CD to make sure that they were his music.
How many CDs do you need? How many CDs do I have to give to you to let me through the border, huh?
Well, the nice thing is I think we don't have that much luggage with us, so even if we
No.
did get searched, it would be
No.
like a 2-second process.
It's just the cocaine that might get us in
No,
trouble.
they take time. It doesn't matter how much shit you have. They,
Do they-
look through everything. They'll
Do
look
they do a
under every
cavity
chair.
search?
I have
Yeah.
been up there where you get pulled over and they'll make you go into the actual like office and they do like a real thorough background check on you, and that takes. And I was with a group of like 5 dudes. Seriously, took like 2 hours for them to do this thorough background check because we had one fucking asshole that was being like cheeky, and they were like,
Really?
"All right, everybody out of the car."
so what?
in there?
What prompted them to pull you guys over then? What was he doing?
It was cheeky.
It was my friend Jason.
Hey, shout out to Jason. What's up, Jay?
My friend Jason, who actually lives in Blaine, right across the border.
Oh, that's why he
See,
was
you
suspect.
don't even have to be cheeky though. They will pull you over just randomly, just like depending on how they're feeling or if they're trying to hit. Like, I think there's a certain amount of random searching that they
They're
do.
trying to get a quota.
I don't know if it's a quota, but like I think they do a certain amount of random searching.
Hey,
just
you
trying to
searched
hit quota.
500 people this month. Good job.
But
You get a
was Jason
bonus.
driving, Phil?
Nope, backseat.
What was he doing then?
He was just being like kind of a smart ass. I don't remember exactly what he said.
the border.
Oh yeah, of course we don't have any drugs or anything. Why would we bring that?
I'm in
I'm like,
America.
all right.
Now I'm in Canada. I'm in America. now I'm in
yeah.
Canada.
He made the airport bomb threat joke there.
Essentially.
Yeah, I was asking for it.
Can you say bomb at the Peace Arch?
Okay, so I guess the
This is the peace arch. You cannot say that here.
This peach orange.
This peach arch is for peace.
This
We
peach
love
arch.
peaches.
the Georgia Peach Arch. I guess
That
the
is
strategy
tough- that
is to
is-
let Mike deal with it, right?
It's tough to say.
Yeah, nobody
Just
talks
like-
unless they talk to
All right,
you.
Mike, you got this. How do
I
you
feel like there's a lot of pressure.
No, this is fine.
I'm nervous about this.
Well, we have, I think, 4 passports, 3 enhanced IDs.
Side note: my house is my old house is right there.
Ooh.
Right up the there, guys.
For
all
all
the
the
way,
listeners.
we're in
listeners,
Bellingham
that's,
now.
Yeah, we made to Bellingham. Live from Bellingham. Sorry, I thought I was supposed to do that.
you want to restart it?
Do we do a new
Shit, we gotta take this over.
Well, we missed my house. We have to turn around.
Should we go show the audience Phil's house? I'll just describe it.
Auditorily.
No, we just kind of put the mics up to the sides of the house and the lawn, and
Just knock on and be like,
I
hey,
just, I just love getting the audio of like Phil goes in there. We open they hear the door opening. Oh hey, how's it going? We just came to see the house.
I used to live
People walking
here.
up
How's it going?
downstairs.
I lived here for 2 years, 4 years ago. So can I come in?
with 7 of my friends.
I left some weed in a room upstairs. Do you think I could go get it? Is that okay?
This town holds some pretty bad memories for me. This is where I had the McDouble thrown at my face by Mike that I paid for.
That's a good memory for me.
I mean,
That's a really good one.
fans of the show already know that story.
I love Bellingham.
Bellingham is the shit. If there was jobs here, I would live here.
Jabs.
Jabs. That's all we have to say about jobs. That was the job segment. Jabs.
I believe our friend David Highsmith is living here currently.
He is a teacher.
He's teaching in Mount Vernon. I didn't know there was children in Mount Vernon. My grandparents live in Mount Vernon, and I thought it was just old people.
You're thinking of
You'd be
Squim.
surprised by where people live. You know?
Hey, can we get a new segment? Jim tells us where people live. Jim, take it away.
All right,
Well,
let's
so
hear it.
Andrew, would you be amazed to
Kyle
know?
lives on the moon.
You'd be amazed to know that Mount Vernon has a high school, a couple junior highs,
you shitting
elementary
me?
schools. There's children living there.
Can
Old people are fornicating, I think.
Can I get? You'd
Oh,
be
no.
surprised where people live on a like decorative pillow.
I would love that.
Is that a new T-shirt?
Andrew, but it's Andrew, you'd be surprised where people live. Because this is exactly like when we went to Spokane. Andrew's like, wow, people live here. This is, wow, look, there's just like, the city's empty, but there's like buildings and there's people
But that
living
was
there.
truly amazing.
Andrew, you actually do get pretty excited about stuff like that. We went to Tacoma, and you like stopped the car and was like, "Wow, this is so pretty," and you took a photo.
Stop the car.
Wait, is that true?
Wow, people
I mean, you
live
may have
here.
been doing it slightly facetiously, but you're like so surprised that Tacoma, like, because there's parts of it that are kind of nice, and you're like, oh my god, wow, look at this, and the bridge, and this, and you stopped and you took a photo with your phone, and you were driving.
We'll have to
He's
record
like
Andrew's reaction to
genuinely surprised
Vancouver.
that people live in those areas outside of where he's lived.
Andrew, you'd be surprised
Where
people live.
Jim, you'd be surprised where I'm surprised where people live.
I genuinely would be surprised.
Oh, okay.
I would go back to Tacoma. That place gets a bad rap. Like,
Well, no, it doesn't.
okay, well I thought it was fine.
It used to, for sure. Like, Tacoma got a lot nicer once the UW moved up there.
Down.
Yeah, down there.
Same diff.
Up or down. When the UW moved over there.
Under.
Do you think it really had a big
Have you
influence
ever-
on it?
No, not under.
I've been to the under
We
UW.
did go to the only time I've been in downtown Tacoma, we went there. It was a Sunday. We went to Discovery Park, which is incredibly nice. If you can go there, it's beautiful. But we went downtown and expected to see like people in shops and bars and everything. There, we saw 5 people, and this is a town of 250,000 people. There were 5 people downtown walking around. No one was in the bars. No one was in the shops. It was really weird. I can't imagine living there.
I feel like Tacoma, except for like 3 bars, shuts down at 10 p.m. And then there's
Probably.
like 3 bars you can go to after that.
There are more people
One
walking
of
around
my,
downtown Bothell.
One of my
in Tacoma.
coworkers, who is usually an unreliable narrator, basically he was claiming the fact that Tacoma has a larger nightlife scene than Seattle now. He was like lamenting the fact that Seattle lost all these nightclubs and stuff, but Tacoma's where it's really happening, dude. And I was like, no, it's
No.
not. Get
Does
out
he
of
write
here.
short stories
It has
about it?
one street.
One street.
Jim, does he write short stories about it?
I
that
wish
kind of
he
his
did
thing?
because they'd be very long and rambling because that's all he does when he comes over to our desk. He just like talks at you for a half an hour.
So Jim likes this guy. Let's play office gossip with Jim. Who else in your office do you not like, Jim?
Angela or Phyllis?
Definitely Phyllis because she doesn't stand up for
Do you think
herself.
She's a bitch.
Do you think anybody doesn't like you in the office because you're uptight?
Got him.
Yeah, there's I'm really, there's just they
loosen up.
they
Fuck.
don't like the way my collar's starched.
They don't like the fact that it's starched at all.
They don't like the car he drives. They don't like the house he's in. They don't like the wife he has.
Hey, watch it, buddy. That's my
Is
wife.
this a reference to something?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just
These are just a list of the things that they don't like.
So
It's a great
I
rap.
just spent a good deal of time back here looking up Georgia Peach Arch, and I could not find anything.
Shit.
It had-
Sounds like we got a website to buy.
Google has 4 results, and none of them say Georgia Peach Arch.
This episode is sponsored by BigDaddy.com. Go get your new web address at BigDaddy.com. Georgia Peach Arch.
So I thought he said Georgia Peach Arch.
Peach art?
Was that not Peach Arch?
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he
Correct,
said.
Daniel. Your ears do work. Georgia Peach Arch.
Great work.
Peach Arch.
I think
Narrowed it down.
we're getting a little
This is why Daniel
antagonistic on
doesn't
this
get to go on the
podcast.
pod.
No, we're not. I think it's because we're getting so close to the border. I'm getting nervous.
You don't know anything about me.
I'm fine.
You're getting antagonist.
I'm just getting nervous for Mike. I'm not sure if Mike's going to be able to pull this off.
Wait, so if we want to go to duty free, we have to go to the Linden.
I thought there was a store on
Blaine.
both of them.
Remind me if you see a sign.
Blaine is the one we want to do.
Blaine, Washington.
Yeah,
This is a very local.
Exit is in.
I don't know.
There'll
you
be a
see
big
signs.
sign.
This is probably the most localized podcast we've ever done. Tacoma, Spokane, Blaine, the Peace Arch.
We should do driving tour podcasts where we just like today we're doing the San Juan Islands. We just walk around. No, we shouldn't. I gotta take it
Everybody
back.
goes,
Well, I mean, can someone,
welcome to San Juan.
can, some,
It's a regional dialect. It's regional.
can someone paint a picture of what we're looking at right now and kind of invite the listener into the car with us?
I can do it. I can do it.
All right.
Mike, will you please ask the border agent if he knows where the Peach Arch is?
Absolutely.
You know, I think maybe we should put down the mics and check back in a little bit after we've made it through, or not, the border.
Keep squirming?
Made it through or not the border. I think we're not. I think we've got some time before.
I have one more question before we put in the mics.
yeah,
do you
okay.
think that if we do get detained, they'll let us continue to record?
I mean, what more can they do at that point?
How
We've
could
already
they
been
stop
detained.
us?
Could we take this mic setup with us into a bar tonight and just for every bar we go to, just set the fucking setup up and just make a huge scene every time?
That sounds terrible.
Like a lot of work.
It does sound like a lot of work. Let's do it.
Or just walk down the streets of Vancouver with
I like that
the
idea.
box and
That's
all
also
the mics
possible.
coming out of it.
We got a new segment, Americans on the Street.
Americans on the street.
Wait, this is our chance to finally interview people on the
Yes.
streets.
We can drum
We had to
support
travel
for
to
the
a foreign
podcast.
country to do it.
I'm sure once we're drunk enough, this is going to be a great idea.
This is how we get arrested for doing like amateur radio work without a license on the streets of Vancouver.
I think we should go print up some like release forms.
No.
That we can have people sign. They just say some gobbledygook on there. Like they sign away their life to us or
They
something.
just say gobbledygook.
I'm sure the hotel is a printer we can use.
It's just typed on there, gobbledygook.
And then there's a line, and then they have to sign it.
Hey Kevin, what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I got blackout drunk and walked around Vancouver with like $2,000 worth of audio equipment.
And if it wasn't for the recording, I wouldn't know what the hell happened. But here it is.
It's just like 2.5 hours of you talking to a homeless person about how Rosie O'Donnell isn't a racist.
No, you don't understand.
Rosie, it's Roseanne.
Oh yeah, Roseanne, not Rosie O'Donnell.
Same shit.
Wait,
Yeah.
what's the difference? Rosie O'Donnell and Roseanne?
What's the difference? They're two separate human beings.
I want
Besides that.
They're literally two different people.
They might both be. Oh,
Besides that.
They're also women that make Kevin scared because they're so powerful.
between these two people.
Okay, so there was 2 shows. They're actually around the same time. Same time period. There's a sitcom called Roseanne,
And then the Jim Carrey
starring
show.
Roseanne.
Yeah, and that has what's his name?
John Goodman.
John Goodman. Yeah.
Tom Arnold was married to her,
Okay.
and he wrote for the show also.
Okay.
And then there was a chat, like a talk show called Rosie with Rosie O'Donnell.
Ew.
This is crazy. I legitimately thought these were the same people.
No.
I love this so
Worlds
much.
colliding.
No, Rosie O'Donnell is the person that Trump had the infamous Twitter war with before his presidency.
Right.
I thought Rosie O'Donnell.
But see, I
I'm
see
not-
where the confusion comes in because there was also a Twitter scandal with Roseanne.
Yeah,
he
no,
got
that's
those two
confusing.
mixed up
They
in his
do
head.
both have Twitters.
Well, and no, like even growing up, like I did not realize there was a difference between these two people.
Well, that's why you're so different than all of us.
Rosie O'Donnell was the voice of the monkey in Tarzan. That's how you probably
She
recognize.
was.
I mean, that's probably her most prominent role.
That's how it was.
Absolutely.
Well, she was also in A League of Their Own, but
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
That's
What
a great
happened
movie.
to her? Is she
Great
dead
flick.
or just not working anymore?
I thought Rosie O'Donnell. I'm not
Roseanne or
joking.
Rosie O'Donnell?
I thought
Rosie
she
O'Donnell.
transitioned, like Caitlyn Jenner, but the other way.
Well, I don't think it was
Oh.
initially.
This-
So now she's Russ Donaldson.
This is a good.
Why did you change your last name?
More masculine.
Then O'Donnell.
This is a good game to play later in the podcast though. Is you choose movies or TV shows, and is it Rosie O'Donnell or Roseanne?
I like that. We can play it with the people on the street.
All right, we'll lose that game.
Kevin, 0 points.
I'm sad that we're going to Canada because I have a lot of Google searching to do to like figure this out.
We'll just find a place with Wi-Fi.
Oh, that'll work.
So who actually bought Wi-Fi, the international plan for Canada?
Just Jim.
Yo,
Jim, so what's
because
it,
I've had it for a long time.
what's this having an international plan do? You can make calls?
So, yeah, you can make calls and do text messages.
You get,
for
like,
like $5 or $6 extra or something while you're there.
Ooh, there's a Canadian flag.
It's per 24 hours or something.
Wow, it's happening.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
I did it when I went to Europe, and I for a month I got 200 megabytes of download that I could use, and then you could do texting for I think you had a certain amount of text that you could use,
I
and
see.
a certain amount of minutes you could use.
Okay. I find that most places have Wi-Fi you can use nowadays, right?
They do.
I think that's true.
This segment has been brought to you by Verizon Wireless.
This segment's been brought to you by Verizon Airlines.
Verizon Airlines.
This segment, Rosie or Roseanne?
No, that cell phone segment.
We're going to do a little...
Yeah, no, the cell phone segment
this
is
segment-
Rosie or Roseanne. Now, is your cell service more a Rosie or a Roseanne?
Yeah, my cell service is racist.
Why don't you
so
tweet us, let us
Roseanne.
know. And we'll be right back after these messages. Hey, well, welcome back to part 2 of Peter's bachelor party extravaganza. For you guys at home, that was just a few seconds, but for us, well, it was a few wild and crazy days that I don't think any of us will ever forget. We just made it through the border, no problems. We thought there might be some problems, but there was no problems. We had the flag to defuse the situation. As soon as we got to the border, the agent noticed the flag.
What flag?
We have these 2 flags that Mike created. They're pink. They hang off the side of the van. They've almost given us a heart attack multiple times because we almost lost them in the wind. But they have Peter's picture on them. They say Peter's bachelor party. And as soon as that agent saw the flag, he knew that we were just some good, all-American boys,
Christian boys.
God-fearing men, and we were in to the country with no problem. Kevin, you were about to launch into something about the...
Oh yeah. So I was up in Whistler one time with some friends,
One time.
and I totally I left my passport in the car that I came up in just like the seat, the little pocket behind the seat, which is where I have mine now. But they went home a day earlier, and so then I was up in Whistler with my passport in the U.S. And I was like, oh shit, what do I have to do? So I went online, and it turns out they can't legally deny entry to a U.S. citizen into the country. And I was like, oh, okay, awesome. We'll just go to the border and deal with this, but I'll be able to get in. It won't be a problem, and I'll get my passport later. So we get to the border, and the border guard is like, he's like, where's your passport? I'm like, I came home a day early, and he's like, I cannot legally deny a U.S. citizen entry into the United States. And I was like, awesome. Like, that's what I want to hear. But then he said it again. And and then he said it like he was punishing me and that I was getting bad news. Like he's saying everything I want to hear, but he's like, we cannot legally deny a U.S. citizen entry into the United States. And I was like, awesome. I'm like, why are we not both happy about this? Because this is what I want to hear.
Let's get drinks, man. This is great.
So then they pulled us inside, and like we had to like wait for 45 minutes while they like did a bunch of like computer searches on me, I guess. And then finally we made it in.
Okay, well, yeah, we had a pretty fun weekend. After we last left you guys, we went across the border, and then we went to a little town called Surrey. And we ate at a pizza place called Boston Pizza, which I guess is a chain restaurant.
Our fans in Canada might be more familiar with it than we are.
Right.
Boston's.
Well, in Mill Creek, we got Boston's pizza.
Yeah, but this is
And then in
different.
Massachusetts, we have Boston.
Absolutely.
But we had some pizza there. We asked the waitress what fun things we could do in Surrey, and she said absolutely nothing.
She was wrong.
There was a split second where I thought that maybe she would say something about the axe throwing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we were like, hey, what's the fun thing to do? She's like, nothing. And then she was like, oh, wait, I guess. And then I was like, oh, no, don't
Nope.
do it. Don't ruin it, because Peter didn't know it was coming up.
Right. So we ended up going axe throwing, which was pretty fun.
Wow, what a treat that was.
It was a little warehouse, and they had these 3 lanes. They called them lanes, and in each lane there was 2 basically targets set up on
Yeah.
the plywood.
Human beings tied up to the wall.
Was it plywood or was it?
Well, they're just like 2x4s nailed together.
Yeah, it was some makeshift targets.
More like 2x8s.
2x8s,
I don't
yeah.
want to make a big deal.
That's
of it.
Some
4x8s.
studs. Some studs.
Yeah, it was basically like 4 2x8s all strapped together vertically with some paint on
Wait,
it.
does that make it an 8 by
8x2.
Well, you're doing it by board, not by
okay.
like
okay.
the total.
Yeah.
But there were some axes we tossed. So there was like these 2-handed axes that were a little bit bigger.
Oh, yeah.
And the one-handers. And the people who ended up being the best were probably Mike and Kevin, I feel like. By the end, they had an epic duel.
I had some
Yeah,
serious
Kevin
epic
took
duel.
home the trophy.
Yep, Kevin was pretty good. So I think
Deadly Brother roll call.
the next time we get
End of the Deadly Brother roll call.
the next time we go to the Mick commune, we're expecting to see some
Oh yeah, I
axe
want to
throwing
get that up set up, dude.
officially erected. Yeah.
Welcome to the Axe Throwing Center.
We also another highlight of the trip really was this arcade. So we were planning on going golfing on Saturday, but it was raining kind of throughout the morning and the rest of the day.
Yeah.
And so we were thinking of different things to do. So Daniel found a few different things like jousting. What was it? Like
mounted combat.
Mounted combat, sword play. There was a bubble soccer where you hop in the big ball and
Dang,
you
we
roll
should.
around.
We could have done that.
That would have been fun. But we found this arcade.
We also had the option of go-karting.
Yes.
Real
Go-karting.
fast go-karts.
Real fast go-kart. Speeders go-karting.
But we found an arcade that was on the street that we were on because basically where we were in Vancouver, this was kind of like, how did you describe it, Kevin? The Miami of Vancouver?
No, it's the street that we're on is Granville, and to give you an idea, it's lined with bars and adult shops and
Clubs,
restaurants,
nightclubs.
clubs. It is where you're going to go to have a good time on the weekend. The street is closed to all traffic, so all these drunk people are just walking through it.
Milling around.
And so there's all these nice establishments, clubs, porn shops,
If you check our social media, I mean, there was a good one of Daniel walking through an impromptu labyrinth that somebody drew on the street.
Yeah,
that is true.
someone drew a maze.
And then amongst all of these high-end establishments and porno shops was a very rundown hole-in-the-wall arcade.
Called Movie Land.
Movie
And
Land.
we couldn't quite figure out why it was called Movie Land because there's no place to rent movies there.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
But the arcade, to give you an idea of what it looked like a rundown establishment that may have been erected 20 years ago
It
and
looked
never
like the
cleaned since.
arcade on the Titanic. Like if you were to go down below the ocean and see the Titanic's arcade.
Oh, yes, the famous arcade.
Underwater. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
it's that much of a piece of shit. It's just
Yeah.
falling apart on every angle.
I don't even think I saw Pac-Man in there.
There was
that's
Pac-Man.
how
Not
was there
one
Pac-Man?
Pac-Man.
There was one Pac-Man,
There was
yeah.
Miss Pac-Man.
Miss Pac-Man, but no Pac-Man.
But about half, quite literally half of the games in the arcade were out of order.
Yeah.
But there was one.
So having said that, we walked around the arcade not knowing what to expect.
It's like in the other.
And it was very dingy. We were like, oh, maybe we're not going to stay here. Jim and I walk over to this one racing game and decide to sit down. And Andrew, please take it from here.
Yeah, so right by the door there is this game called Daytona USA, which is just a racing game, and it's right by the front door. And the only person working in this Movie Land arcade is an elderly Chinese man who is just kind of reading a magazine, hanging out.
Sitting
But
on a stool, just reading a magazine.
It's a weekend. It's kind of prime time for an arcade, I guess. You know, it's
Yeah, it
like
was a rainy day, but there's like people out.
rainy
doing stuff.
day,
Yeah.
popular street, 3 p.m. And we're basically the only people in there. Just a few other people are kind of meandering
By the way,
through,
we
but-
found out that this arcade was adults only plus 19, which was confusing to us.
No,
'cause
18 plus.
18 plus. It was confusing to us because they didn't sell alcohol or anything. It was just, in our mind, arcade games.
And you have to
Yeah.
be 19 to drink in Canada anyway, so it didn't quite make sense. But so yeah, 18 plus arcade, and then so one Chinese man watching the door, kind of hanging out, just loving his life,
Giving us change.
giving us change because all the machines take quarters. So we hop on this Daytona USA game, and as we sat there, kind of because I think Mike was playing maybe some shooter and someone's playing
I was
pinball.
playing, whatever House of the Dead.
Yeah,
one.
Mike and I play House
Yeah,
of the
Jim and I
Dead.
were fucking killing it. Except for that game's exhausting.
Oh, the trigger is
Like, because it's like you have to shoot to reload,
move your
shoot, and then
finger
it's just
every time.
chaos. We were done to play. We were done playing.
Yeah, we're like,
I've gotten all I can out of that.
So eventually, everybody started kind of gravitating towards the Daytona game
because there was 7 seats.
Right.
There were 8 consoles. 1 was out of order.
Yes. So there's 7 active seats you could take, and we ended up just playing that game for probably a good hour straight. And each race only lasts maybe 2 minutes. And so, you could do the math on that one, but it's 50 cents a game.
I was stoned out of my mind and
Yeah.
on another planet, just cruising around the galaxy.
We all were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was the best experience.
Yeah, so we ended up going back to that arcade.
Yeah, that was the best. Is when we went back because we did it during the middle of the day. Then we went around, got some food, got some drinks, went home, took a nap, and then had more drinks, and then went straight there. And we all went back to our same seats. And we were all like, "It's good to be back," as if we had done it like years before. And we're finally all our same colors.
Yeah, but this time it was closer to closing, and at this point we figured it must be more popping at this point because
Yeah.
it was about maybe 11:30 or maybe midnight at that point. And
Busiest street in a city
It
of
was
a
like
million
12:30 at night, I'd say.
They closed the street down. There's so many people just walking around, so many drunks, and no one's in this arcade
except for us.
still
no one.
and a different elderly Chinese man. And so we actually end up, the only way you can play the games is by using quarters. And the only way you can get the quarters is by asking the guy behind the counter to make change for you. And somehow he ran out of quarters to make change with, effectively
Yeah.
rendering his business useless.
Yeah.
Which is confusing to me because that's the only way he makes money is by people coming in and
But
and then
also-
even his excuse for because I wanted to just put $1 down and get maybe just 4 more quarters, and he refused me because it was last call. It was he said 10. It was 10 minutes till it closed, and he wouldn't give me any more plays.
That also gives you an idea of how much we played that game.
Yeah.
We caused him to run out of quarters.
We did.
which may have been the first time ever for that business there. But we basically ended up waking up the following morning, the morning that we're recording this right now. We went to breakfast, and we were determining if we wanted to just ship off and go back to the States, or if we want to hit it up for one last run.
Hey, can I drop an interesting fun fact in this story? I just kind of wanted to add
Sure.
to that. Yes. When Pac-Man was first released, the entire country of Japan ran out of 25 yen pieces.
No way.
This is a true fact. So
Wow.
just wait. Once Daytona
Really?
USA really catches on, they're in for a world of fucking hurt.
Once Daytona catches
1993,
on.
25 years later, it feels like the time.
This game that was released in 1998,
1993.
1993, it'll catch on.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
So we go, but when we left the previous night, when we hit last call for Daytona at the arcade, we kind of turned around. We had explored it, and there were a couple odd things about the arcade that we noticed as we left.
There was a big sign.
One, there was a bathroom in the back with a door,
Yes.
no lock on it, and a large hole cut out of it.
Not even a lock. There's no latch.
There was no latch,
Just swinging.
and a hole cut in the door.
And no toilet seat.
At
and
head
no
height.
toilet seat.
Like crudely cut in the door. Like it was like someone
Somebody
just
took
sawed
a
a square.
hacksaw to
Yeah.
the door.
with a prison shiv, actually.
So you can't really have any privacy as you're going to the bathroom
None.
in this place. And then there were these large boxes towards the back, which we
Looked
all
like
kind of looked
storage.
at. They were like storage lockers or something, and none of us could figure out what they were. And so as we were leaving, who noticed what was written above?
Oh, somebody pointed out the fact that there was a giant painted sign towards the back that said "Girly Show," but we were
No,
like,
it said what was it? Girly movies.
"Girly movies, girly show."
Girly theater movies for
theater.
men.
No, girly
theater.
movies
Girl-
theater. Girly movies theater for men. Was what I
Oh
said.
yeah, you're right.
Girly movies theater for men.
But it didn't jive with what we've been doing the whole day there at all.
yeah, we're just playing a fun racing game.
And we were thinking maybe that this place had replaced some sort of sex shop or something or porno theater, but I guess not.
Or maybe
And
they just rent DVDs.
When
and
I had
yeah.
walked in, and I didn't register this when I walked in, but the first time we walked in earlier that day, it was still bright out. I had walked back and was kind of peeking at these boxes, and an old, very fat man walked by me and said, "Yeah, they're operated by coins. They're from the 1940s."
Oh boy!
And I was like,
They were not
Okay.
from the 1940s, by the way.
Definitely
He
not.
said he's like they're from the 1940s,
But so-
operated by coins.
Essentially, we went back this morning to get our last Daytona fix.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of sat down and said, "You guys go on without me. I got some investigating to do here because
Our investigative journalist,
We were-
Andrew Leclerc.
we were
Go
not
on.
leaving Vancouver without knowing what Movie Land's real secret was."
I love
was
that
it
it took us all 7 of us.
We were there for hours the day before.
in a building that like, in
Hours.
literally a tiny room for 3+ hours when we finally noticed the huge sign that says girly theater.
for men only.
So I went back to the back of the establishment, and it only gets darker as you walk back. So the whole thing,
It's literally so dank and like just terrible in that place.
the whole thing is lit by fluorescent lighting. I wouldn't be surprised if there was some money laundering going on because
Oh, yeah.
the real estate there must be so expensive to have the rent in that building.
And have that janky ass arcade in that spot on that street.
There's something weird going on.
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't just make a new arcade rather than taking the one from the Titanic.
If that arcade, if the arcade was at all competently run, they would be making so much money. Sell a little bit of beer, sell a couple concessions, just have a nice couch or two, not dank and poorly lit in the back. But
Yeah.
they've decided not to do that. There has to be some type of cocaine trafficking going on there.
So it gets darker as you walk back, and there's about, I'm going to say, a dozen of these big white boxes that are numbered. And next to the box, they all have this little certificate that was signed off on that, by the way,
Certificate.
expired in 2008. So whatever
Whatever that means.
whatever these were for, they are very much expired.
2008.
Decade. Wow.
But all the boxes are labeled. Like one said, 1 guy, 1 girl. One said, 2 guys, 1 girl. One said, 2 girls. And so I'm getting pretty intrigued.
Yeah.
And the other guys are playing some games, so I got some time on my hands. So I went to the 1 guy, 1 girl. I wanted to keep it kind of vanilla at first,
Right.
and you basically, it's essentially imagine like a photo booth, except there's nowhere to sit and there's no curtain, and you kind of just like walk into it, and all you're looking at when you're in this booth is another tiny rectangle cut in this little box. That's probably 2 inches by 4 inches.
Yeah.
And there's a little slot next to it where you put in a 25-cent piece. And you put in this 25 cents, and then inside the box, a projector starts playing porn
A real film projector.
inside the box. So you have to like actually peer inside this tiny little cutout window, and there's porn from the 70s playing. And it plays a clip for maybe 45 seconds, and then it turns it off. And if you want to continue, you have to put another quarter. So this is now the second time I've paid for porn.
Kevin, I'm just like, I'm kind of disappointed that the porn wasn't from the Titanic either.
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't pick up that
Could
up.
have been like
That's a missed opportunity.
Some good Titanic porn.
If they had real authentic Titanic porn, that place would be off the
Hopping.
rails.
It's just the painting scene from the movie.
But I
over
think-
and over.
Draw me like one of your French girls.
But I felt like
Say it again.
But like underwater.
Paint me
It's
like
just
one of
that
your French
scene on
girls.
loop.
That's what I mean. You want to see it again? 25 cents. It's like blinking. 9,
Draw me like one of your
8,
French girls.
7.
but you might think
Want to watch the whole movie of Titanic?
You might think that a quarter for 45 seconds of porn is kind of a ripoff, but if you actually do the math, it's probably about the same as buying, a clip in today's day and age.
Today's economy.
with inflation and whatnot. So I think not a bad deal overall. It is hard to jack off. I did have a tough time doing that, but
Oh my God.
it made me think why that door didn't have a lock and why there was a hole cut in it. Now I think I know.
Yeah, that made a lot more
It's
sense.
still just such an improvised thing, that door. It's
Yeah.
like they like
Can't
set
get away with
it's like
it.
they set everything up, and then we're like, oh, we have a normal bathroom back here.
Ba-
But then they started having problems.
I mean, that bathroom was so garbage that if they just had a corner that's had a sign on it that said Pee Corner, it would have been fancier.
Well, there's a few things I noticed they don't want people doing in that bathroom. They don't want you shooting up heroin. They don't want you jacking off, and they don't want you peeing if you're a lady.
Well, then what do they want you to do?
Men only.
Yeah, 'cause
Theater
the-
for men.
The toilet didn't have a seat, right?
Yeah, the toilet did not have a seat. So if you're looking to take a shit or if you have a vagina, you're shit out of luck. But if you're a guy who just has to take a piss in a urinal and you don't care who sees, you're good to go. But that was probably a highlight of the trip, and I think that we'll be planning all future bachelor parties and excursions around this.
Oh yeah,
Around
just to make
Daytona.
a stop about around the Daytona.
racing.
Yeah.
Oh man.
What are the chances that that place is still open the next time we come to Canada?
Well, I mean, it's been open for the last 25 years.
Yeah,
so-
what were the chances that it was going to be open today after yesterday?
Slim?
Wait, it's been open for 25 years?
I don't know. I mean, it looked like it.
I mean, that sign outside was pretty old.
Yeah, the sign seemed old.
There were actually a handful
You know,
of
it
sketchy
also it also makes me think that maybe it didn't have any arcade games in it to begin with, and as the years wore on, the porn
porn
videos
starts
became
paying for-
became less popular, and they just started putting arcade cabinets in there. So they got forced all the way to the back.
That would explain why it's called Movie Land.
Yeah, it would explain it.
Do you think that they like swap out the videos daily so that there's a reason to come back if you're a customer?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not.
I don't think so.
No, those
That
were-
guy, I didn't see that guy do any work except give us quarters.
That thing is like it's like a, it's
Daniel, could you read off this review that we found about this place?
Yeah, so I mean, actually, I've been looking at a couple of reviews just 'cause I'm interested to see if our experience matches that of the general public. So here's a user on Google reviews who's asking, "Can I get a lap dance here?" Which I think is, from what we saw on the pictures and stuff, you know, like the signs, that's probably a pretty reasonable question. And the person answered, not a very good one, but the old guy who runs the place has a bad hip. So, so there you go. Maybe yes, maybe no. We don't really know still.
How many stars was that?
This is just a question on Google reviews.
Sounds like
The
five
guy
stars.
has a hip. 5 stars.
Another highlight of the trip was so the hotel rooms were a little bit smaller than we expected.
Just a little bit.
We got two rooms at the Comfort Inn. Both had two really double beds, right? They weren't queens for sure.
They were doubles.
They were doubles, so 2 double beds and just enough room to kind of like shimmy past the bed to the bathroom, but not much else. Not much room to do much else. So we didn't really have space to do anything. We didn't bring any playing cards, but we did want to get, absolutely shit-faced drunk in honor of Peter's bachelor party. And so Phil taught us how to play Cheers Governor, which you've probably played that before if you're an avid drinker like us. But the idea is that you don't need cards. All you do is you count off in a circle from 1 to 21. And essentially the only rule, first off, is that 7 and 11 are flipped. And then from then on, once you make it to 21, whoever is the last person to say the number 21 makes up a new rule that replaces one of the numbers from 1 to 21. So for instance, you could say on the number 5, you have to say apple instead. And the idea is that you have to get through every single one, making a new rule for every single one, and then by the end you're completely plastered, and I guess you've quote unquote won. And so we played the first night, and we were not able to win. And the second night, we learned about John McCain's death, and that actually propelled us to win the game in his honor. And so we changed it from Cheers Governor to Cheers Senator, and we decided that we were not leaving that goddamn hotel room until we got through all of them.
Took us an hour and a half.
It took us an hour and a half of just drinking and ruling, and Jim fucking it up every time.
But my fucking it up every time had the intended consequence of us finishing the game, because it kept the pattern the same each time.
Right, because if you're always
Way
the
to
same
go, Jim.
It's the only way you can cheese that game is if one person screws it up every time.
Yeah, because once you screw it up, you start over from the beginning. So Jim fucked it up,
Jim's a hero.
and then Daniel started back at 1.
I took it all for the team and everybody.
And so we always did the same rule, because it was all just counting off the same order every time. So we ended up winning, and then we went out, and that was a great time. But I think
I paid the price dearly.
yeah. But I mean, overall, it was a pretty a fun time for everybody. I think
a
we
fun
had
time. It was
Yeah.
a fun time.
we got a good bit of the Canadian flavor and went to some different Canadian
flavor.
So last time we were here for a bachelor party was for Mike's bachelor party 2 years ago, right? It was that long ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
Three.
Three. Was it 3 summers ago?
Yeah, because yeah.
Holy crap.
Wow. Okay, so 3 summers
Yeah.
ago we were here for Mike's bachelor party, and a highlight of that party was when we were I think we were already fairly drunk at this point, or maybe we were just kind of drinking throughout
We
the
were
day.
pretty much constantly inebriated.
Yeah.
This is Phil, by the way. I am actually in the car. They didn't leave me in Canada.
He's here.
Yeah, we were pretty much in a drunken stupor the entire weekend.
We were a lot drunker at Mike's than we were at this one.
I disagree.
Really?
I think we were more buzzed at Mike's. I remember us not really being able to get drunk until the event I'm about to mention. Because this was kind of the tipping point, is that we were kind of casually drinking and walking from place to place. And then we ended up at this, like, Japanese... What were they doing there? Was it just a bar? Did they have food?
It's a restaurant and bar, yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it was like Japanese themed. And Kevin ordered us all dragon shots.
Yep.
And what was in the dragon shot? Do you remember?
Like cranberry juice and I think it's vodka.
Yeah.
Something else, probably.
It's something. There's a few things in there, but those are the main ingredients.
Did we do two dragon shots?
We walked.
went there 3 separate times.
We walked-
and did at least 2 shots each time.
Okay.
The last time I bought 36
Shots in
dragon
one
shots,
sitting.
and I think there was only 12 people there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it was just like I've never seen that many shots in a row.
We
ever.
walked back and forth by that establishment, like, yes, at least 3 or 4 times. The staff would just see us come in and be like, oh, yeah, you're ordering okay. You and I, Kevin, took at least 3 or 4 shots on the last one just from those 36.
Because not everyone would do 3 shots at a time, which I feel is a respectable thing to say no to.
The bartender could barely lift the tray of 36 shot glasses to place it in front of us.
We knew that because we were in the area for Peter's party, we had to go back and get the dragon shot. And you wouldn't believe it, the thing closed down. There was no more Japanese, but it looked like we just missed it because it hadn't been replaced yet.
It had been remodeling or something.
Yeah, it just was closed down, boarded up. But we looked, you could see kind of beyond the drywall or whatever they had. Not the drywall, the plywood.
Yep.
The plywood that they had. And you could see that it was still the same place and that it was, we weren't just lost, but we missed the dragon shot place.
Probably
Unfortunately.
it probably is pretty recent that we missed it.
They're probably going to turn it into an axe throwing place where you can get shots. So
That would be amazing. If you could get dragon shots and throw an axe, that's the place I want to be.
That's ideal.
The bar would be called Dragon Slayer.
Oh.
We'll have to pull out that photo of the dragon shots and put that on the Podworms Instagram account.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, we have to have that somewhere, right?
Yeah, I have that for sure.
Other than those
That's the
events,
proudest moment of my life.
The weekend was fairly uneventful. However, we stayed at a hotel, again, very close to the main party street of Vancouver.
Yes, we did.
And we got into our hotel late last night at around 10 or 11 o'clock into our hotel rooms.
No.
Didn't we?
No,
what time
no.
did we get to the hotel? 8 o'clock?
It was about 1 in the morning.
That we got in.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah.
So we get into the hotel at 1 o'clock in the morning. We have all this alcohol. And this is the first night, right? We got in at about 1.
Wait, I don't know.
Are you
know what
talking
you're
about
saying.
the second night or the
No,
first?
I'm talking about the first night. When did we get to the hotel the first night? We're just gonna tell a story. When did we get in the hotel the
I don't
first
know
night?
when we got in there the first night.
We
was
probably got
11
in
or
around
something.
10.
Yeah.
We were very loud the first night in our hotel room.
Extremely loud.
We were
Very
extremely
loud.
loud. We played quite a few
We were there
games.
till very late
We
being
played-
very
we were
loud.
very
Drinking games. We played Quiplash.
we were very loud in this entire thing, walking up and down the hallways, settling in. We had a marvelous time. The next night, we come back to the hotel
Round 1.
around 1.
very quiet.
We're actually being pretty quiet. We're talking reasonably. We get a knock on the door from the front desk
That was
person.
the most bizarre thing is we had been having scattered conversation that was at a normal volume with each other.
And now we weren't drunk.
So we were really
loud.
surprised when somebody came to the door.
Somebody comes to the door, knocks on the door, and says, "So we've received a noise complaint from you guys. This is the first formal complaint. If we get another one, we're gonna possibly have to evict you from the hotel."
evict us from the hotel.
She said it very seriously. She was very, very serious, very stern with us.
What's really funny, because from my perspective, Phil and I had just gone and gotten ice and mixers from the vending machine so that we could sit in there and drink all night. And we went down to the floor below to get all the stuff. And then as we come back into the 3rd floor, that's when we see this lady opening up the door and yelling at you guys.
Yeah.
And I love Phil's first reaction, which was to pull out the key card from his pocket and try and get into the other room. He's like, "Hey Kevin, we need to get in this room," and I'm like, just gonna. I don't care.
We don't know those rapscallions.
We're not associated with that.
Phil's immediate reaction is to betray everybody else in his own room.
Yep. Every man for himself when the hotel clerk comes.
Well, there was a debate of whether we should, because we got one formal complaint in room 310.
Yeah.
And we had 312, so we're like, if we go over there, does that mean we get 2 more complaints?
Do over.
It's 2 more complaints.
Do we get a reset button?
We can all sleep in one room by the end of the night.
Yeah.
Well, Daniel actually, I don't know if we call it the foresight or just he brought an air mattress with him in his backpack. He somehow stuffed an air mattress into his backpack, and in the other room in 312, we had his air mattress set up. So actually, it was myself, Peter, and Daniel, and we all had our own nice little bed to sleep on. And that was like the nice, clean smelling room, and the other room got so dank so fast. And not like even weed. We didn't smoke weed in the room. It was just like pure 7 men being in one tiny little living space. It got so stanky. But that was like the designated hangout room, and the other room was like the nice clean.
It's because it was the bigger room. They were both just so tiny, but this one had about 3 inches. It was about 3 inches wider, so you could walk around the beds. So we're like, oh, that's the big room. That's where we're all hanging out.
Yeah.
The big room being the room where when you walked to the bathroom, your left hip would be hitting the wall and your right hip would be touching the bed.
Yeah.
Like that's the aisle. It's so
They
tiny.
can't be safe in a fire at all. You wouldn't be able to get out of the room.
No, Canada does not have fire codes.
Yeah, comfort's not safe, Jim.
One of my
Comfort is not safety.
one of the funniest. I don't know if it was most funny, but the most amusing thing that happened was that we were at breakfast, and our waitress was a little bit of an airhead. I found her to be a little bit of an airhead.
Correct.
And we were
Holy shit, she was so bad.
we had some very mixed bag service while we were.
We had some very good service.
Yeah.
And some very service.
Yeah, but
Thank you for your service.
the service here was questionable. But basically at the end, she's like, "So, what are you guys doing out here? You
Oh my God.
you from the States?" Yeah, we're from Seattle. We're celebrating this guy's bachelor party. And she's like, "Oh, bachelor party and wedding." And she said, "When's the wedding?" And he said, September 21st, which is a month from this recording. And she said, "Oh, wow. So you guys just hanging out here in Vancouver until then?" And I think we just said yes.
Hell yeah.
I don't think it was worth explaining.
She took a look at us. She took a look at us and what we were dressed in and how hungover we were. And she thought, these 7 guys have a good enough job to just take a month off of
Taking a
work
month off prior to the
and take a
wedding.
vacation in an incredibly expensive city.
Peter's getting married. I can quit my job finally. Let's just live in Canada.
Yeah, so we tell all of our girlfriends and wives, "All right, guys, we'll be back in a month. We're going to go have a little bachelor outing for Peter."
Well, that or Canada's bachelor party traditions are way cooler than the
Yeah,
U.S.
they last
ones.
a whole month.
Welcome to the Bachelor Month.
Well, in Europe, when they take holiday, it's like a true, several weeks off. I think they even sometimes take months off when they go on vacation. And so maybe that's just like an extension of that idea, where you just take a month off to go celebrate your buddy's bachelor party. But not us. We're already heading back. But I thought that was pretty funny.
Another highlight was going to that Chinese restaurant
Oh my
the
God.
first night.
Oh, yeah. That was
Changed my life.
We were I was like, this place is open late, but we were there at 12:30
Yeah.
at night, like after midnight,
Having a wonderful
ordering,
dinner.
and there's like nobody in there besides us at this point. Maybe like a couple people at another table, but it's this huge like warehouse of a dining space. And I'm like, there's nobody in here, and the waiter goes, "It's still early,"
Yeah.
because it's like
We're like,
their main
when-
crowd gets there at like 4 a.m.
We're asking, well, when does it get busy in here? Oh, in a couple hours.
But the interesting thing there was that the staff seemed so prepared to just deal with drunk.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was
I got up
bread
to
and
go.
butter.
I got up to go to the bathroom, and then immediately when I got up, the waiter looked at me and then gestured to where the bathroom was, just knowing that I wasn't going to be able to. Gestured.
There was a jester.
He honked his nose,
And even though he did tell me where to go, I walked directly into the kitchen.
The restrooms over there, my lord.
Tweedledee, do you have to pee?
I walked directly into the kitchen and then thought, well, this is not right. And then turned around and he's right behind me going, yes, this way. Please, this way. They were very prepared for idiot drunk people.
After that guy peed in the soup last week.
Earlier.
Yeah, but I think overall it was a pretty successful event. Another great party planned by Mike McCoy. Maybe it's like McCoy blood, because of course your wife Julia plans events.
Right.
You also plan.
She's
a
got
few
the
events in
same
your
blood as
lifetime.
him.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Ever since we got married and we took that blood oath.
and then because Kevin's also been the best man 4 or 5 or 6 times or something like that, right? So
Sure.
if you need an
4,
event
5,
plan,
6 times.
if you need an
Yeah, who
event plan,
knows?
go to the McCoys.
If you need a best man, Kevin does it for $500.
Hire me at bestmanservice.com.
All right, I think we should end this show with a fan favorite game, NSRG, also known as the non sequitur ranking game, with 4 of the highlights from Peter's bachelor party weekend. So, number 1, Eggs Benedict. We had a lot of Eggs Benedict throughout the whole weekend. I think Kevin had it thrice.
I also had it 3 times.
Okay, Jim had it 3 times as well.
also did, yeah.
I had normal Benedicts. I had salmon Benedicts.
Yeah, we tried a lot of different Benedicts.
Yeah.
So
Benedict Arnold.
that's the first item. The second item is Daytona USA, the racing game from the arcade.
Yep.
The third item is getting yelled at by hotel staff and trying to evict us. And number 4 is, remind me what we decided on. What was number 4?
Wait, what?
Daytona, getting yelled at, Eggs Benedict, and axe throwing.
Axe throwing, yeah.
Axe throwing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. I think I know my order.
Yeah.
I do. I have mine.
Should we go around and say our 4 and then all of us go do our 3 and then our 2 and then our 1?
Yes.
Yeah. So number 4, I will start getting yelled at by the hotel staff.
Yeah.
As you rank that last?
Yeah. Yes.
Definitely. Least
Did
amount
anyone
of fun
not
had.
put that as last?
I did.
Oh.
Wow.
I put Eggs Benedict.
Whoa.
Pull over, Mike. Pull over.
Stop the car.
So I had it once, and it was at the restaurant where she asked if we were going to be staying in Vancouver for the month. But
At Earl's.
me and Mike got served our Eggs Benedict last.
Oh my God.
Oh my god, yeah. That was fucking awful.
It was
No.
everybody at the table, aside from Daniel, ordered Eggs Benedict.
Started eating it.
started eating it.
I did not start eating it.
Mike and I got our meal probably 4 minutes later than everybody else.
Jim, you were eating it with your
I
eyes.
did not start
You were
eating
eating it with your eyes.
And here's why I really put it fourth.
Let me cut Andrew off. You got your meal like 2 minutes after
It was
our
like
plates were put
2
down.
whole minutes.
And we may have eaten some like potatoes while we waited for you
I'm
guys.
sorry, I'm not going to have cold food while you get to have hot food just because your food came out later.
Well, that's why I'm putting this number 4 is because everybody's saying, "Oh wow, this Eggs Benedict is so good." Mine was like lukewarm or cold even. It wasn't even that good.
I liked mine when I got it.
The ketchup was good, but the ketchup wasn't the Eggs Benedict.
I think it maybe was karma because you were like, "Hey waitress, give us the carafe of water."
Hey, give us that water.
Okay,
Yeah,
let me back up.
Also, you snapped at me that morning.
I did
Oh,
not.
he did.
What was it?
did.
Was it about the water?
No.
Jim, do you remember?
It wasn't about
There was something that I said, and then Andrew literally turned and snapped in my face.
Okay, here's what it was. I
was like, I like water or something,
I
I don't
recall
know.
very clearly. So this whole thing at this restaurant was a
dear.
fucking mess. All right. So the first thing we get there and sit down, we go the wrong direction to get to the restaurant. So. Okay, here's
Yeah, I don't know how you
happening.
guys did that.
We have
This is actually a great story.
we have a reservation for 10:30 in the morning, and we're all having a hard time getting our asses up because this is Saturday morning, and we spent the last night drinking, and so everybody woke up a little bit late. And so we have the 2 rooms with two bathrooms, and so we're getting showers and everything done as quickly as possible. But Phil is the last person to get his shower done, and so we leave Kevin with Phil in the bedroom and give him directions to the restaurant because we're going to Earl's, and there's 2 Earls within a walking distance of the hotel, one slightly further, but not that much further.
And 2 of us went to the right one.
So-
and the rest of us
You're-
started
you're-
walking towards the wrong one.
Phil and I left the room 10 to 15 minutes after you guys left.
Yeah, so we start walking. We give them the directions. So it's me, myself, Mike, Peter, and Daniel, and Jim. And we are following because Jim has a plan. We can actually use international service, and Mike had Wi-Fi, and so he pulls up the Google Maps, and Mike has like one little last direction before his phone cuts out, and so Mike says, "Okay, head right out of the restaurant. So we start walking down the hill out of the restaurant.
They're still picketing.
And, picket line's still there.
Solidarity.
We walked
still there.
like 6 minutes the wrong way.
Well, because Jim says, it's about 9 minutes from here to get to that restaurant. And we said, all right. So we start walking down, and then we walk probably 6 or 7 minutes. And he says, all right, so it's about 10 minutes from here.
Because I had the wrong location in my phone.
So Jim had the wrong location, and we said, well, it's already past 10:30. So hopefully the other guys have found the correct restaurant. We had to walk all the way back the direction we just came from, and then to the actual correct restaurant. We get there, and Kevin and Phil actually did find the place and got the table. Not like it mattered; it wasn't that busy anyway.
No, there was
but
no
they got there, and there was no water. There's no glasses for water, right?
This is why.
This is important because when you sit down at a restaurant, everybody
You're gonna
wants
let
some
him
water.
tell this version of the story.
I don't know.
Yeah,
why.
absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
You can feel free and correct the record, but here's how I recall it happening: is that the pitcher she filled our water with was not all the way full to begin with, and so some people
The
got
place
water
was barren,
glasses.
dry as a bone.
It was, yeah, right. We just got done walking through the city. I'm parched personally, and so
It was raining outside too.
some of the glasses.
Not hot out.
Some of the glasses are the 1%ers, and they got a nice full glass of water. And there was a few glasses that got like a little like tiddlywink of water, which was like a quarter full. And we're all sitting there, and we're supposed to just sip on this until our food comes. And I said, when the waitress came back, I said, "Hey, can you bring us over a pitcher of water?" And apparently this was an incredulous request because Mike said, "Oh, Andrew, I was supposed to ask for the water." And I said, "Mike, half the people here don't even have water. They fucked us."
That's what that's right. You like literally, because I'm sitting next to Andrew and he turns to me and like in my face goes, "That's your cousin." That's water. And like, and then Jim and I like wide eye like look at each other like, whoa.
Well, if I didn't ask for water, who's going to?
You didn't even give the waitress a chance to get more water. Like she might have been bringing more water, but you're just like immediately like, "Hey, this is what we need."
Hey, dying of dehydration is not a choice.
Oh,
okay,
man.
this is a bodily need.
Did she give you the vibe that she was going to bring more water? Because she saw that they weren't filled up, and she didn't come back with a pitcher the second time she came to our table.
Yeah, she did not give me the vibe that she was going to do anything correctly.
That we weren't asking.
She gave me a very like good water pitcher vibe for sure.
Well, she didn't give me that vibe, hence why I had to ask. But anyway, that's why
Hold
Eggs
on,
Benedict
you
is my
did-
number 4.
You did. It wasn't that you.
He was not asking a question. He was making a demand.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was.
wasn't-
It was
wasn't
not
that you
like, "Hey,
asked.
could you bring this over?"
It was that you were an asshole
like,
when you said it.
will
You're
bring a pitcher of water.
immediately like upset with her.
That is not true. That's not true at all.
Well, you need to be aware of how you come off.
How did I come off?
Oh dear.
Like an
Here we
asshole.
go
Can you just
again.
bring us a carafe of water?
That is not what I said.
Yeah, it's not what you said. It's
You know what?
Yeah,
I'd
you,
say-
you actually said, "Could you bring us a carafe of water, bitch?"
What the waitress lacked in her water senses, she made up in her ketchup knowledge.
Oh
So
yeah, she
Oh,
really
no,
did.
she didn't.
She didn't have any ketchup knowledge.
no, she
said, like,
did. She said it comes in a bag.
She
I
said it
think it's
comes in a bag.
That's knowledge.
That is not ketchup knowledge.
I guarantee this is how I said it. And that, can you also bring us a pitcher of water?
But so say it like
was
you said
easy.
it in the restaurant. The tone, same tone though.
The same tone.
Because I'm sure ordering stuff. I'm sure I said
Yeah, use that
I'll take the
agitation.
eggs. I guarantee that's how I said it. Okay, I'll have the eggs Benedict. And would you also mind bringing over a pitcher of water for the table?
You did say it like
like,
that. and
I
you're-
doubt I said, and we need water, cunt.
I don't get why this is the most exciting thing in this restaurant experience. By far, the most exciting
I'm
highlight
just curious
of
as
the
to how
experience.
it came off differently to everybody because I don't know when you're at a restaurant, like how are you supposed to order anything? This person's job is to get things for you. Am I not? What are you supposed to say? Like, if it's not, honey, sweetie, if it's not too much trouble, my coffee, I could use some cream. If it's no, and no rush at all, no rush. And if you don't have any, it's okay. But I really need some cream. I don't need the cream. I can drink without it, but I would like some cream, if that's okay. I just said, could you also bring us a pitcher of water for the table?
I also put Eggs Benedict as my number 4.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I love those Eggs Benedict, but I think that my number 3 brought more interesting stuff. I'm not going to
really?
reveal it until we're ready.
Okay, Jim, what'd you say for number 4?
Definitely person yelling at us about being loud because it was unjustified.
Okay, Kevin.
Yeah, I put the lady yelling at us. Even though I didn't get the full brunt of it, all I got to see was her yelling at you guys from the hallway.
You got the other perspective.
It was so funny because I walked in, like, I didn't get any of the yelling at, and so I just was not, I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
But you guys were all, like, sitting in the corner with the dunce cap on. Like, everybody, like, the room was so somber.
Really brought the mood down.
It was like everybody's puppy just died.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like walking back into the room after the lady yelled at you guys.
All right, what about back of the car?
I ranked-
Phil is not even tuned in.
I
All right,
ranked
Daniel.
back of the car last.
I think it's pretty easily getting yelled at in the room.
Okay.
Number 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Number 3. Who said they had an interesting number 3? Mike?
Yeah, so number 3, I put the lady yelling, and the reason I put it above Eggs Benedict is because the Eggs Benedict could have been good or mediocre, or it could have been like French toast or something, and it wouldn't have changed my weekend. But what this lady did was first she really killed my vibe, and that was shitty.
Yeah.
But then we went out and downstairs to the Irish pub that was just down there, and we get up to the line, and there's a bouncer there, and there's a guy in that bouncer's face. Basically, she caused more interesting stories. So this guy's like yelling at the bouncer and like threatening to kill him or something. Phil actually probably knows more about what he was actually saying. Phil chatted up the bouncer, but but basically the bouncer ended up shoving the guy in the street. Like the guy like fell back like 15 feet and on his ass, and then asked for our photo IDs as we were like being let into the place when we were and then we like aimlessly walked around.
We
But
also didn't have the greatest waitress in that place either.
No. I was more that it was interesting to me that we saw someone just get laid out. Like that was more of like
Took a long time to get up from that too.
Well, he was drunk.
I want to know how many secret friends Phil made during this trip.
A lot.
Because, like, every time we went somewhere, Phil would go up for a smoke and come back with 6 new friends.
I am a homeless man soothsayer. I heard a great tale last night about aliens, and honestly, I was pretty drunk, so I don't really remember most of what he was telling me about. But man, could this guy yammer on?
Yeah, he was telling you something about how aliens were controlling the government, and that's why that's why he got out of government.
Right.
And then you tried to talk to him later, and he just stood you up. He was like,
He gave me
whatever,
the cold
dude.
shoulder, like
Yeah.
we didn't share a connection.
Yeah, because you looked at me and you're like, no, this is the guy. Trust me, I know him. I'm gonna go talk to him, as if like to prove to me. And then you walk over, and then he like ignores you, because he's talking to someone else. And you look back, and you're like, you shrug your shoulders. You're like, I don't know, man. He's not talking to me.
It was pretty hurtful. I was trying to black that out.
So my number 3 is also the woman yelling at us for the same reason, Mike. It propelled our night forward. It could have been worse, but it made a good story, and it also got us out of the hotel
The
and away from the
stink
stank.
hole.
Yeah,
Away from the stink. That's a positive in itself.
Did anyone else? Okay, so everybody else number 3. What were you guys?
Eggs Benedict.
Egg Benedict.
Because I ate it 3 times.
Yeah. Okay, fair.
Oh,
Kevin.
Yeah, same.
Okay, and Peter.
sure.
Okay. Number 2 for me.
Oh, that's fine. I'm not playing this game anymore.
Daniel, go ahead.
Eggs Benedict.
Okay.
All right, Danny, cut that out.
Yeah.
Number 2 for me, between axe throwing and Daytona, because everybody's number 1 and 2 are going to be between those two. I mean, I think this is not going to be a real controversial opinion, but I think axe throwing is number 2, leaving Daytona as number 1.
Yeah, that's correct.
I mean,
Yeah.
You know what? I have a different opinion.
Whoa. Okay.
I think axe throwing is number 1.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
And why is that?
So I'll be honest. I wasn't expecting much
From the axe throwing?
From this whole weekend.
From this whole weekend.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nice.
Okay, you could have
No.
said that in the last podcast.
No,
He did.
I put axe throwing as number 1 because one,
You can hear it in his voice.
none of us had ever done that before. I barely even knew it was a thing, but I thought it set a fantastic tone for the rest of the weekend. It got us all competitive and into a good groove of camaraderie. We played each other really well and wanted to win. And overall, it was just it's a good time.
Yeah, it really loosened me up.
Team building exercise.
Very loose. Very a lot of team building.
There was no more axes to grind after that.
That's right.
Absolutely.
And I could tell that Jim's feelings were definitely not hurt that I called him Angela, because at several points during the trip, he pointed out times where I was being Angela-esque.
So my
You know.
feelings were not hurt.
yeah.
I just wanted to like keep making the point that he was projecting the Angela onto
Such
me.
an Angela thing to do, to defend.
It is a little bit more Angela than it would be a Phyllis thing to do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Fair enough. Yeah. So number 1, I thought Daytona was a number 1 experience.
Daytona
like
for
there was
sure.
just
Absolutely.
It was just so bizarre. It was something that we could have done, 5 miles from our houses back home, but it just wouldn't have been the same. And just like
It was so cheap too.
It was
we could just sit there forever.
It was cheap. It was seedy. It was like totally surreal. And being super high the first time we went there was a very unique
It's an
experience.
adventure. for
So
sure.
good.
Yeah. So Daytona was number one, and I think it was a pretty damn fun time.
I would say it's hard for me to, like, if we had gone back to axe throwing because of how good axe throwing was,
Yeah.
that would have helped place it number one. But we went back to Daytona twice.
Yeah, we did.
Right.
Hey, Dan, cut that out. It's more of just a note that was boring. Is that all right?
That's fine.
Sometimes I just say things because it makes sense.
But usually when you're saying these things, you're not on mic and you're at home in your room and no one cares.
Hey, you know what? you know what, though? We'll make a difference because no one will hear this.
Wow. Andrew, I've got to say, Andrew brought the heat all weekend, and it's continued into today. You're like, you were totally on top of all of your jabs at everybody. It was great.
I guess that's true. Unless it was late at night, then Phil was the
Yeah,
Phil was the king of zing.
Oh, that's what we learned. We learned that
learned.
there's Phil, but there's also Felipe.
Evil Phil.
It's true. It's evil Phil.
Yeah, you guys were talking about how bad the waitress was last night. I was just sitting there thinking about how Phil was spending the whole time tearing up every coaster in the
my God,
fucking
you're
restaurant
right, you're
and
right.
spilling water all over the table.
Literally grabbing cups of water and just laying them sideways.
How many times did she have to come back with towels just to clean up the mess you were making?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, lady. I'm sorry.
It wasn't like he was. I just love how nonchalantly he would just grab a cup of water that was like maybe half full and just tilt it and set it on its side and just let it all spill out.
If you've ever watched a cat video on YouTube, you saw Phil last night.
God.
He does not like glasses of water being upright.
And then and also Felipe really came out much harder the first night, where he started getting argumentative, and then unprovoked he slapped me as hard as possible in the balls. I was wearing sweatpants.
And, he
And
was
then
tickling
said, "Let's
Kevin.
play the nice game."
Yeah, and right afterwards, then let's play the nice game. And I was like, dude, zero warning. I have no quarrel with you, sir.
You do now, though.
I do now, though. No, we're even now.
But you're saying you played the nice game like this is a game that people understand and know. This is not a game
We
that...
all learned the nice game.
Here's the thing. If I didn't explain what the nice game is, you still know what it
Yeah,
is.
you still would have gotten
Just be
it.
nice.
Absolutely, just being nice.
I guess so.
It's just
Felipe's
being-
not very good at
Nancy
it.
needs an explanation for the nice game.
I've never played the nice game before this weekend. It's something that Felipe showed me.
Yeah.
Well, it was very confusing because I thought I just was convinced that it was like be super nice to make people uncomfortable.
No.
And then it was revealed that it was to be nice. But it didn't matter how nice you were to Phil. He
still just is just like
Felipe is very sensitive.
because everything Phil said after he'd say something, he's like, "Ah, you guys fucking hate me."
I'm sitting there going, no, we don't.
No, we don't. No one's saying that. Yeah, you do. I can tell.
I can see it in your eyes. Hence the unprovoked ball attack.
But he hit you in the nuts and he was tickling Kevin.
He was.
This is a major
All over the place.
just a
Still.
roller coaster of
Great
emotion.
show. Great show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
I'm gonna lay off the
drunk.
sauce
I was
for a while.
drunk off the Shannon.
Oh Jesus Christ,
The
Shannon.
Canadian
the curdled
like, Kahlua.
Shannon. Ugh.
It's basically like caramel Baileys, and I was just taking pulls off that all night.
Curdled Shannon.
Curdled. It got curdled. That's what I stopped. It was
That
like,
was so
this is gross.
Yeah, we all bought one, like 1.4 liter,
Yeah.
bottle of alcohol on the way in, and we had more than enough. Like I don't think we got through nearly.
Yeah,
I was pretty impressed that we destroyed all that whiskey.
Yeah.
The first bottle
Yeah.
of whiskey
Yeah.
we killed
Out
in
the window.
literally an hour.
Can I just make note that Peter is just holding my mic for me while just scrolling through Twitter? So hasn't said anything for a long ass time.
I lost interest. We also might die.
So maybe
Okay,
that's,
good.
maybe that's
We're in rain. The road is slick. The car in front of us is stopping pretty abruptly.
Well, maybe
But for me to hold the mic for Mike, it's a pleasure. And if I die doing that, then I die doing what I loved.
Well,
Mike,
maybe-
take it away.
I love you, Peter.
Well, maybe that's a good note for us to end the whole extra bonus content bachelor party episode with.
Keep